Director John Brennan today saying the Islamic State poses a direct threat to the United States and our allies if left unchecked.
ISIL, I think, demonstrates a very worrisome development because it has basically been a phenomenon that has snowballed in terms of its resonance, its appeal. Unfortunately, they have had, I think, a fair amount of excess using the technologies that are available, the internet, YouTube, and other things, to present their narrative in ways that romanticize what's going on there.
This despite claims from the administration that the group's surge has been stopped, its leadership degraded. Joining us tonight, Dr. Kata Ahmed, a physician, an observant Muslim herself, and a self-described anti-Islamist. She's also the author of the book In the Land of Invisible Women, a female doctor's journey in the Saudi kingdom. And the president of the Foundation for Defense of Democracies, Cliff May. Thank you both for being here. Dr. Ahmed, let me begin with you. Why do we not get a straight story from this administration? We have the head of the CIA saying that the Islamic State is a direct threat to the United States, and the president basically poo-pooing the whole thing, suggesting that they're nothing more than a ideological fringe and certainly have no attachment to the Muslim religion.
It's a great question, and I can't possibly imagine to know what the inner workings of the administration's thoughts are. But it was an enormous relief to hear Mr. Brennan explain that this matter is becoming out of control. Unfortunately, in recent conversation, there's been an over-attention to the technology, the use of social media of these movements. While that's an absolute fact,
as we just heard the CIA director himself do.
Yeah, while that's an absolute fact, the reason that they have material to propagate on social media is we haven't put up a sufficient challenge to their calls for battle. It's not just a narrative, though that's central to Islamism. They're actually gaining territory and waging war in countries that have lost their ability to make war for themselves, namely Iraq and, of course, Syria.
Cliff, your thoughts?
Well, I agree with all of that. And at this point, Syria is maybe half a country controlled by Iran. Iraq may never be a country again. Half of Iraq is controlled by Iran. The other half is controlled by the Islamic State. And it does need to continue what it sees as its jihad globally. It wants to be the Islamic State worldwide, not just in Syria, not just in Iraq, but throughout the Levant and overseas. And so now it has Boko Haram as an affiliate, and it has others pledging allegiance in places as far away as Afghanistan and Pakistan. These are severe threats, and the whole jihadist Islamist movement is what we need to be thinking about and strategizing to fight against.
And the most effective countervailing force against the Islamic State to this point has been the Kurds themselves, which we refuse to arm, which we refuse to support aggressively. What could possibly be the reason?
Again, I can't explain the motivation, but one of the things that's most worrying is this current battle in Tikrit, which is hopefully about to be quashed, but by Iranian-led leadership on the ground, and with Iraqi forces joining in collaboration in the battle with so-called Shia militia, which even the New York Times has reported as Shia militia. I just don't know how they are distinct from Hezbollah. And I think what is happening is already people are talking about fears of a sectarian conflict. There is a sectarian conflict already. The Middle East is reordering according to sectarian identities, but on extreme spectra in the way we haven't seen before.
Are we not, Cliff, simply watching Iran assert its dominance in this region across? There seems to be no limit to both their appetite and what they're achieving in terms of control and influence.
Quite right. The Islamic State is a real serious problem. The Islamic Republic is by no means the solution. We have Shia militias now that are taking the lead in Iraq against the Islamic State. These are the same Shia militias that were killing Americans by the hundreds just a few years ago. We should not be assisting them, acting as their air force. What we should be doing, as you rightly say, if we had a coherent strategy, is supporting those who would fight our common enemies, and particularly in this case the Kurds, who we have not been supporting in a robust manner because we have maintain the fiction that we have to go through Baghdad, but Baghdad is one of 4 Arab capitals now under the control of Iran, which sees itself as the coming hegemon, the colossus, the boss of the Middle East. And I fear that our president thinks that's not such a bad idea, that he can play a responsible role. Believe me, the Saudis, the Emiratis, the Israelis, the Jordanians, the Egyptians do not agree, and they are much distressed and much fearful.
And I think this may bring into mind why our administration doesn't want to get into this. It actually doesn't want to engage, even though we're offering airstrikes, is because it's become clear our president feels it's of prime importance to make rapprochement with Iran, and it appears to be at any cost, which I think will come at a very high cost, unfortunately.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Good to see you.